he seems like a good pick. He seems like he'll know what he's doing. He had a pretty good year with the Cardinals this year. I mean, the Cardinals, were doing pretty well. I know he's. I just think he'd be a good fit for the Bears.
And another thing is, one thing that he has that none of the other candidates have. He's got limited coaching experience. With Miami, he went 3-1 after they fired, I believe it was Tony Sperano. They let him do the last 4 games, and he went 3-1. So he's got limited head coaching experience. That's something none of the other coaches have. Mm-hmm. And every single player on the Cardinals has just raved about them. They said he demands respect out of all the players. He's one of the guys that's helped the locker room, be really good, be such a great place, and every single person likes him. They say it doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you don't perform, you're not going to play with him. So, and the thing is, a lot of guys have credited him with the development of becoming a great defensive players. And keep in mind that Arizona's playing with major injuries. I forget what their middle linebacker's name was. He missed most of the season. They missed some key pass rushers like John Abraham.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Patrick Peterson had a horrible year since signing his big extension.
Yeah, he definitely did.
So it's not like he's playing with Seattle-like talent, and his defense is almost as good. And think about the quarterback situation that he's been playing with after Carson Palmer went down. So the defense is on the field more, and it's still performing at an extremely high level. It seems like he's the guy. He demands respect out of guys that might be the second coming of Lovey, except he might be better because he seems to know more about offense because he's been with a good offense with good key players on it.
Right. I agree with everything that you're saying there. We're going to take a quick break. We will come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the Bears. We'll get into some other Chicago sports and other sports
about the Bears
things and everything else. So you're listening to the Ryan and Ryan Power Hour here. We go from 2 to 4 here on SportsTownChicago.com. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Ryan and Ryan Power Hour here on SportsTownChicago.com. Yes, this is the first show that we have with our new show name, which is Ryan and Ryan Power Hour. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
See how that works there? We're both named Ryan, so we went Ryan and Ryan without making it too cheesy like Mike and Mike in the morning or something like that. Ryan and Ryan Power Hour sounds a little better.
We had a couple of ideas, like the Ryan and Ryan Sporting Hour, the Sporting Hour with Ryan and Ryan.
Whatever. The show name is the least of our concerns, really. Yeah, it's about the content in the show. But yes, and this is the Ryan and Ryan Power Hour. We were talking about the Bears as they have hired Ryan Pace as their new general manager. They are now in search of a head coach, and according to a source that Ryan Risky just read off, the interview with Todd Bowles went well.
It did, and I'm happy to hear that because he's the guy I want.
Right.
He's the guy that I want. I want them to hire Bowles. I think
a lot of people want him, too.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, even though Arizona made him the highest-paid defensive coordinator, the Arizona owner said the reason they did that, they wanted to show him the love so that he'd maybe want to stay longer to show how much they appreciated him. And the only problem that I have with the Bears is that he's probably making more money than any head coach they've ever hired, but that they've ever paid before. And I'm just worried that when it comes down to they want to hire him, they won't offer him the money. They'll offer him less money than what he's making in Arizona, and then he'll just tell him to take a hike.
I hope that doesn't happen.
The thing is, it just sounds too Bear-like. That just sounds way too much like the Bears. That's the only problem I have because...
Well, I hope they check to see how much he's making before they make him an offer. And maybe offer him a little bit more than what he's currently making, and not less.
Or maybe they'll just decide, we wanted to hire you, except we are out of our price range because we're the cheapest people in the NFL. And
I don't think they're going to be
I don't
doing
get how
anymore.
This is only... They've been around since 1920, and this is only their 14th head coach.
Yeah, well, that's because George Halas was coaching for 40 years.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So he could, and he's not going to fire himself. Except this is only their fourth or fifth. This is their fifth general manager. Ryan Price is the fifth general manager. Mm-hmm. Because, that shows how long overdue Jerry Angelo's firing was. Phil Emery, I'm glad they fired him before waiting until it was too late to fire him because they realized they need to have strong drafts.
Yeah.
If they're going to win, they can't just go, because look at signing
That's
all
what
these...
step one is.
Yeah, look at what's...
It's drafting the right people that can eventually play every day.
And getting the quality free agents, like finding the Willie Youngs of free agency, like the cheap guys you can get maybe on a multi-year or one-year deal that can provide you a lot of value, more value than what their salary is, or last year they went and shelled out a ton of money to Jared Allen and Lamar Houston, and that doesn't look like it worked out very well.
No.
However, maybe that would have Jared Allen may have looked better had they had competent defensive coaching around him, and they actually had a coaching staff, because did it really look like anyone was playing for anything out there this season?
Not until I mean, early on they seemed like that they were actually trying, but when you lost to the Bills in overtime, I mean, that was not good. And then it just got a little worse and worse sort of after that Atlanta game.
Right, the incompetent coaching was quite an issue. And I mean, you need quality coaching. And I mean, like, if everyone's just playing for themselves and not playing as a team, it creates a problem. And I mean, maybe I mean, granted, they can cut Jared Allen after the next season and not have to pay him anymore. So I mean, that's one thing that really does help. Except if he has a great season, they might want to keep him around another year, or because I mean, obviously he was bad last year. Except maybe if Lovie Smith was the head coach, do you think that defense would have played as bad as it did? I mean, granted,
No.
it might have been bad because of the lack of talent, except I don't think it would have been as bad.
No, I don't think it wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have been as bad either.
I don't think it would have been I don't think if Lovie was the head coach, they would have been the two worst defenses in Bears franchise history.
Yeah, although, I mean, he has not done a good job in Tampa Bay. I know Tampa Bay has less talent than the Bears do, and
Tampa Bay has no talent.
And they have an awful quarterback with Josh McCown. But, they definitely are in a really bad situation, and Lovie Smith isn't really helping their situation either.
Right, and Mark Trestman interviewed to be the Buccaneers and the Jaguars offensive coordinator.
I did hear that. I hope they don't hire him for either of those positions. He'll probably end up in Tampa Bay, and they'll make like a fake Bears team over there.
See, that's the thing that I was thinking. He might want to go to Josh McCown might be recruiting him, because he was. I mean, Josh even said Trestman's the reason that he was so good his year with the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
and that's the problem. I mean, Mark Trestman's system worked for one person and didn't work for the other 49 players.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, it did somewhat work for Jimmy Clausen. I mean, granted, maybe it would be interesting to see what he could do with a young quarterback. Because I mean, granted, Tampa Bay is probably going to draft Marcus Mariota, so maybe they want to see what he can do with a younger quarterback, because
does Tampa Bay have the second pick?
First
pick. Okay, I thought Oakland had the first pick.
No, it's Tampa Bay. Oakland is probably.
Well, and Oakland is going to stick with Derek Carr anyway. So
yeah, it is. Tennessee has the second pick.
Okay, all right.
Did you hear what some moron this is a message board or a commenting board? Some moron said the Bears should trade Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, and Jared Allen to Tennessee for the second overall pick and their second round pick, and then trade the Bears numbers, and then trade someone.
Well, having Tennessee's second round pick is irrelevant. You know, I mean, the first pick maybe, but you still wouldn't trade those players.
Yeah, I mean, why would Tennessee give up the number 2 overall pick for 3 guys over 30?
Right. I mean, it's not like Tennessee's in a win-now mentality.
Yeah, and then he said trade your number 7 overall pick to Cleveland for their 2 first-round picks, which is like the 12 and the 18, which won't happen. And then some guy commented after that and said, you play too much Madden.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
Tennessee's not trading the number 2 overall pick.
I forgot how bad Tennessee was this year. Tennessee was awful this year, and they only finished with 2 wins.
Yeah,
2-14.
I believe they did.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of bad teams like Oakland and Jacksonville, except those teams probably aren't drafting quarterbacks because Oakland drafted Blake Bortles with the 3rd overall pick last year, and obviously Oakland looks like they got the best quarterback out of the class last year is looking like Derek Carr, except that's just as a rookie. In the long run, it could be Teddy Bridgewater or Blake Bortles. I definitely doubt it'll be Johnny Manziel, considering he didn't look like he knew what he was doing out there.
The Ryan and Ryan Power Hour podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.